All right. Well, guys, I am so excited today. As I've been telling you throughout the week, we have an amazing special guest with me today on the phone. We have Bennett, and he has just came out with a brand new book, Free to Thrive, co-author with none other than Josh McDowell. Bennett, how you doing, brother?
Hey, JDub, so good to be with you today. Thanks for having me on the show. So good to see you again.
Yeah,
it's
man.
It's been a while.
No doubt. It's, 2 years?
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic.
Yes. I mean, the bug was just starting. People were like, are we scared about this? Are we not scared? What is it? It was at that point. But yeah, man. So how's things been since then, dude?
It's good, man. We're out here joining y'all, in Florida and Texas. It's the wild, wild west.
Yeah,
and,
man.
Getting shamed by the rest of the country.
Okay.
No, but it's been good out here, staying connected to friends and getting to do things I love and fighting that loneliness off by having meaningful connection with people. Go. And it's been awesome with the release of this book. It's timely. So many people are lonely,
yes.
hurting, addicted, and I'm just praying that God moves through it.
Now, quick question before we get into the book. Did you ever get the 19 or what?
The what?
The bug.
Oh.
Did you ever get it?
19. I probably had it at some point. I
Okay.
mean, I'm a year and a half in, and I am going forward, guns blazing. So
okay.
I gotta get that test. I gotta get that antibody test and figure it out.
Yeah, well, it picked me up like Hacksaw Duggan or whatever, and body slammed me on the ground. So I definitely got it. Yeah,
you were like, it took you to the WWE like cage match.
That's right, dude.
Off the top ladder through the table, the 19, man.
If I had any doubts, just to make sure, from the ropes.
Yeah.
So, well, dude, this is awesome. This book, I've been reading it, and it's so amazing. And I again, like you were saying, so timely. Free to Thrive. Ben, can you just maybe give our listeners a little bit about, maybe, a little tiny summation about, really what the aim of this book is to do? What do you hope to accomplish with this book, Ben?
Yeah, JDub, I think the easiest way to summarize it is going to the subtitle. It's how your hurt, struggles, and deepest longings can lead to a fulfilling life. So many times in our lives, and we can get into more of my life, my story, but what I realized was for years dealing with mental health issues and addiction and whatever you're dealing with, it's easy to see those things as our problems and things we just want to get rid of. Mm-hmm. But when we start to question them rather than just condemn them, we can start to figure out, what are we actually longing for? What are they about? Why do we do the things or struggle with the things we don't want to be struggling with? There's a purpose behind them. We just got to figure out what it is. And that starts to help us understand what we need. And when we figure out how to fulfill that in healthy ways through God and others, we start to flourish and find real and meaningful satisfaction.
Man, that's so good, dude. I mean, I honestly, Ben, for people listening, I would stop and just go back and like re-say what you just said like 20 more times in slow speed, because you just said a mouthful of power. And I think that's what this book is. I mean, every page. And, for our listeners today, I have a lot of young listeners too. This is not a kid's book, right? There's some really adult content in here, some real life, real struggles in here. And Ben, would you mind sharing maybe some of those struggles that in your life that you're being able to use the principles in this book to overcome?
Yeah, let's say a couple of them would be, pornography. Mm-hmm. When I was exposed to pornography around the age of 12, and I know today it's become the new sex ed, and so many people are exposed to it. They don't see anything wrong with it. Yeah. And that's a whole nother conversation.
Sure.
But, summarized, porn fuels sex trafficking. Many people in the porn industry on the videos are trafficked. There's not really a way of regulating everything that's out there. If you're watching it for free, you don't know if this is somebody acting or if they're actually being trafficked and abused. It rewires the brain. It leads to frontal lobe atrophy, the withering away of the higher reasoning portion of the brain.
Okay. Just wait a minute. Stop right there. Because what you just said, now, again, the whole abuse and sexual trafficking that gets into pornography is obviously atrocious. But I also, what you just said about the rewiring of the brain and the whole dopamine that comes into that, I mean, creates that addiction. And I just don't want to pass that so quick. You know, pornography is an addiction, yes?
Absolutely. And it leads to a high, kind of like a drug. It actually releases more dopamine in your brain than having sex with a human being. And ultimately, if you watch pornography, you give up your brain.
Yeah.
It's affecting your performance, your decision-making skills, your ability to take, if you're a young person, to study and to take tests and to get good grades. Like, that's what the science is showing. You know, I'm not saying that from a moral or a religious angle. I'm saying,
it's science.
Look at the hard data. And that's what I got addicted to at a young age. And I wanted so badly to stop it. I hated what it was doing to my relationships. I was angry. I hated myself. I started to hate other people. It was like at a young age, it was searing my conscience and violating just my brain and my eyes. And I just hated what it started doing, the way it made me view people, or the way I started to view people as a result. And I prayed for years for God to take it away. I made countless promises to stop. I tried confessing. I tried praying. I tried memorizing all these scriptures about why lust and sexual immorality was wrong, but it didn't go away. And all those things are a good start. But I needed to understand what was going on behind those struggles, to not just condemn my struggle, but to start questioning it. And that's what we explore in the book, and that we see all throughout the Bible, that ultimately our struggles, our sin, are not random. They're signals to be answered. And when we answer them, it actually leads to a flourishing life, because we invite Jesus and others into the depths of our soul, into our real struggles, and we find real support, real safety, real acceptance, real love. And that does something to our souls, because we were created to experience that. It leads to a thriving life. And that's just kind of what one of the major struggles we talk about in the book. Another one would be hurt. Like, we all hurt. We all have unmet desires, unmet needs. In the book, we found in research and sociology and in the Bible, there are 7 basic longings or persistent cravings and needs that every human being has. And when they're fulfilled, they lead to a flourishing life. No matter your job, no matter your family, no matter the material or status you have, or success or money, besides that, there are these basic longings that you can have a thriving life that everybody needs. And research shows this brings the greatest amount of satisfaction and contentment. And one of those is acceptance. Romans 15:7, accept one another then, just as Christ accepted you. So many of us don't experience acceptance on this side of the Garden of Eden. We experience rejection. We experience people canceling one another. We experience fear of what people will say about us. But the beauty of Jesus is he accepts us as we are through his life of perfection, his death, his resurrection. God accepts us through Jesus. We just ask for forgiveness and a relationship with God. And no other major world religion teaches that. Every other major world religion teaches do good, serve the poor, give money, and maybe a higher being will accept you. But through Jesus, we're accepted as we are, no matter what. And that's a foundational need. And we need to be accepted by others, parents, friends, and whatnot. But all of us hurt when we experience rejection.
Yeah.
So those are two of the major issues I would say that people are dealing with and that we address real solutions to in the book.
That's so good. Guys, if you're listening to this right now, we're talking with Ben Bennett, the new book, Free to Thrive. Free to Thrive. Go pick this up. Ben has just unpacked a fraction of the power that's in this book that's going to help you get freedom. Because people out there, you're hurting, you're addicted. Look, we get it. We've been there, and we might be there right now. Freedom is what we want and what we need. So good, Ben. Quick question. Chapter 7, you got the wrong God. Ben, who is the wrong God and why is he wrong?
Come on. I think there's two extremes that we see. One is in the church, where I would say 95% of churches are teaching partial truths, but not the whole truth about who God is. And it can go a couple different ways. And what I mean is that by that is that some will say, God is angry at you. He sees you as worthless. He's just this cosmic killjoy. He's, rigid and angry. Another one would be, in culture, that God has no standards. He's not righteous. He will forgive everybody. Nobody's going to face his wrath. He doesn't have wrath. He's a cosmic teddy bear that, will accept all despite what you do. And, everybody goes to heaven. I think the truth is neither of them. It's that God is wildly, I was going to say obsessed, but wildly in love with humanity. Genesis 1 and 2, he made human beings in his image. They have infinite dignity, infinite worth, infinite value, whether or not they're a Christian. This is why murder is wrong. This is why hurting people is wrong.
Yeah.
There are no worthless sinners. There are sinners, but nobody is worthless.
Come on.
There's people with a ton of worth. Yet,
so good.
Genesis 3, Adam and Eve sinned. We all sin. We're born with a sin nature. We all violate God's perfect, righteous, holy standards. We can never do good enough. We can never earn our way to God. The reality is that we don't have to. God came to us in the form of Jesus. He lived that life for us. And like I said earlier, we can be accepted as we are. So we've got to understand that once we come to God, we're adopted into his family. He's not obsessed with our sin. He dealt with it on the cross. He doesn't just tolerate us as a result of the cross. He loved us before. For God so loved the world that he gave his son, John 3:16. So love was his motivation. He's wildly in love with humanity. I think of David in the Psalms. I think it was David. It might have been the psalmist when he says, "Keep me as the apple of your eye." And the Hebrew word for that apple of the eye translation means little man in the eye. It's a perfect metaphor. When you get so close to somebody, you can see yourself in their eye, like as a reflection.
That's good.
That's how God is with us.
Come on, man.
We're always in his vision. He's looking at us. He delights in us.
Come on.
We're his.
That's so good.
And we can't grasp how much he values us and loves us. And that's not prideful. It's humility, as Josh McDowell says, is seeing yourself as God sees you, no more, no less. It's true humility to see yourself the way God sees you. And he has the person with the most important view of us has the best view of us. Once, as we're adopted into God's family, doesn't mean we don't still struggle or sin. That stuff, I wouldn't say disappoints him, because he's not disappointed in us. He believes in us and loves us, but I would say it breaks his heart, and because it breaks our heart. And it hurts other people.
Come on.
And so we've got to get that mentality right, and it's straight there in Scripture. And we've got to, when you hear statements in the church like, we're all sinners. Well, yes, we all sin, but if I look at the New Testament, all the times that people who are Christians are addressed, we're addressed as saints. And some
Yeah,
will say, well,
amen.
Paul talks about his, of sinners I am chief. He's talking about his former life in my interpretation. So behavior follows beliefs. We have to really believe the truth of who God is, how much we're valued, and how he sees us. Of course, there's so many other attributes of God, like his justice and his mercy and his omnipresent, that we won't get into, that are important to study.
Yeah.
But where we really struggle, I think, is when it comes to the shame narrative of, even though we've left the orphanage and we're no longer sinners, we're no longer dead in our sin, so many of us keep going back to the orphanage in our mind. We keep saying, oh, God just tolerates me, or things like that, when we need to believe what is true of us now.
And I heard you say something just a few seconds ago, and help me make sure that I'm understanding it right, because it kind of hit me almost like a spiritual revelation that, God is not, upset at us or angry at us because we sin, but the sin breaks his heart because he knows what that sin's doing to us. And to me, it's like, that's like the crux of your book. It's the sin, the addiction, it's messing us up. And that's what breaks God's heart, because he doesn't want that for us. He wants the best for us. Am I hearing that right, Ben? Am I thinking right there?
Yeah. And I think a lot of people boil it down to, well, addiction, sin, evil is wrong because God is holy. And yeah, he is holy. But we can't miss the fact that, but why? Mm-hmm. Why did God say this is right and this is wrong? And it's not random. It's because he wants what's best for us. When God says no, he offers two positive principles: provision and protection. He wants to provide for us. He wants to protect us. And that's what sin hurts. It hurts God. It hurts other people. So it's not because he's a cosmic killjoy and just obsessed with rules. He wants us to flourish. And if it breaks his heart, why do we think we would get any pleasure from it?
Yeah.
Because it's going to actually break our hearts and other people's as well, because we're made in his image.
So good! Woo! Come on, baby. Come on, baby. That's what, it's so good. And because I love that, God wants you to thrive, John 10:10. He wants you to have this abundant life. And these things are keeping us from that. And I think deep down in our hearts, and especially all Christians want that. And I think unbelievers want that too. And I think it's so important, Ben, what you're doing. Quick question, Ben. I know you co-authored this book with Josh McDowell. Is Josh McDowell throwing his mantle over you, or?
Is he what?
Throwing his mantle, Elijah, the mantle,
I don't know.
Okay.
Where it stands now, I'm walking in the shadows and
all right,
getting to learn a lot from him and just see God at work.
Okay.
Together. So
that's awesome. Well, tell our audience a little bit about the resolution movement at Josh McDowell Ministries and what that's all about.
Yeah, so the resolution movement is something that Josh McDowell and I launched over a year ago. Josh and I deeply care about the next generation, Gen Z, or they're not the next generation. They are the generation today of young people, and we believe deeply in them. And so as we were seeking to figure out how can we serve them, how can we pass on the faith, equip them, we started to see so many unprecedented struggles: anxiety, depression, porn addiction, doubts about Christianity. And we said, how can we serve? How can we be part of the solution? How can we equip young people and leaders and parents? So we launched the Resolution Movement to resolution people with biblically based, research-informed solutions to their hurts, to their struggles, so that ultimately they can be freed up and thrive in life with Jesus and others. So we launched this movement. A lot of it is digital: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We've got a podcast, a website, and we're, by God's grace, reaching people all around the world, and young people. There's about close to 20,000 of them now who have joined this movement and are part of it online and have said, I'm all in and I want to help my friends. I want to help them meet Jesus. I want to help them heal from hurts. I want suicide to be no more. It can no longer be the second leading cause of death for my generation. That needs to end. And it's going to start with me.
Come on.
And the work God's doing in my life as I'm getting healed and helping other people know the one who can heal them and these principles that can set them free. So that's what we're all about. And we do, obviously, this Free to Thrive book is part of that. We've got a video series, email courses and stuff, resolutionmovement.org.
Okay.
And that's just our heart to resolution and to serve.
All right, resolutionmovement.org. You guys go check that out. And Ben, if people want to get a copy of this book, Free to Thrive, how your hurt, struggles, and deepest longings can lead to fulfillment, Ben, where can they pick this book up at?
You can go anywhere. You can go to Amazon. If you can go to your local Barnes and Noble, and it should be there. If not, they'll order it for you. If you want to get it right now, today, drive down to Barnes and Noble, pick it up. But if you forget all of that, resolutionmovement.org, right there, top of the page on the home screen, more information about the book and links to buy it at all online retailers.
All right. Are we number one New York Times bestseller yet?
Hey, not, but we became a bestseller on Amazon in 3 different categories.
Nice, dude. So awesome.
It became a bestseller.
What is it, like a day old now? What is this book, a day old?
2 days.
2 days. Wow. Congratulations, bro. Seriously, that's awesome. And last but not least, if people want to follow you on social media, Ben, what's your tag name for everybody?
On all platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at Ben V. Bennett. At Ben V, as in Virginia. I'm from Virginia.
All right,
It's not my real name. Bennett. Ben V. Bennett on all platforms. Would love to connect. Shoot me a DM. I'm always on there just hearing people's stories, praying for them, encouraging them, offering anything I can do to serve them.
Well, Ben, thank you so much for being on the show today. The book is Free to Thrive. It's out now. You heard it. It's blowing up, guys. It is a game changer. It is a life changer, and it is going to help you become free and be all that God intended you to be, man. It's a blessing. So pick this book up, guys, and share it with your young adult ministry. Share it with your youth pastor. Share it with your pastor, your senior pastor, because we want to bring life and freedom to this generation and the next generation. Ben, thank you so much for being on the show today, brother. I love you and I appreciate you. And let me know next time you're in South Florida, bro. We got to get together.
Yeah, JDub, it's been a while. Love you, man. Thanks for having me on the show. Appreciate you and what you're doing so much. Keep going after it.
Thank you, brother. I'll catch you later, man. God bless. Peace.
Peace.